The EFF is to approach the Constitutional Court in a bid to oppose President Cyril Ramaphosa's interim interdict of Parliament's impeachment proceedings. EFF Member of Parliament Mazwi Blose joins us now for more on that story. Good evening and thank you for your time. My understanding is that you are seeking to join the African Transformation Movement and its parliamentary leader, Vuyolwethu Zungula, in that application. What is it that you are hoping the Constitutional Court will give you direct access and a hearing on?
Yeah, thank you, and thank you to your viewers as well. Look, we are joining Vuyolwethu Zungula and the ATM in this application because basically, the relief they are seeking is the relief that we want also as the EFF. Because the Western Cape High Court has really tried to put a stop on what the Constitutional Court had previously declared, that the work of the impeachment committee must continue up until the Section 89 panel is set aside by a court of law, and that has not happened at this stage. And this interim stopping or this partial stop of the work of Parliament that must continue with the Section 89 panel is really unconstitutional, and we believe that it's flawed in law. And the Constitutional Court, since this was its order, it's them that gave this judgment. They must entertain this matter and then give us clarity so that we know exactly what needs to happen going forward. Even tomorrow, there's supposed to be a meeting of the Section 89 panel, and there's already contradictions where the ANC is saying that the Section 89 panel and the impeachment committee has been interdicted. The chairperson of the interdiction committee is telling us that no, it's only the public hearings that will be interdicted. So there's really confusion in what the Western Cape High Court has done, and we are seeking that the Constitutional Court can clarify that and give us legal certainty.
What exactly do you believe the Western Cape Division of the High Court got wrong? I see that when I look at your statement, you emphasize that it is the majority judgment, but that is the judgment of the court, isn't it? But what did they get wrong in your view that you are seeking to have the Constitutional Court intervene directly on, given the fact that the ConCourt itself had left the door open for the independent panel report to be reviewed and set aside in that proviso that it gave, saying that, where there's a prima facie case that has been found by the independent panel, the process must move to an impeachment committee until and unless that report has been reviewed and set aside. So where did the court go wrong as far as you can see?
There are two things that the court actually did wrong. Firstly, they did not give relief in terms of what the president had sought. Because when the president went to the Western Cape High Court to appeal for an interdict, he wanted, to interdict the impeachment committee from continuing its work. But in his judgment, the Western Cape High Court interdict public hearings. It says that the public hearings can no longer continue, which by interpretation, it then means that the Section 89, panel reports can continue in the interdict, in the impeachment committee, but not with public hearings, which is what now is the interpretation of the legal team of the chairperson of the committee. And that's what we are saying, that you cannot have a judgment that is subject to interpretation. There ought to be, certainty in terms of what the court declares. So you can't give us a judgment where now members of the committee must then debate amongst themselves in terms of what exactly does this judgment mean. But also too, as you correctly stated, that the Constitutional Court said that this Section 89 panel report is effective and the impeachment committee must continue up and until or unless, it's set aside by the court. And that has not happened at this stage. That report, or that appeal is still going to be heard. President Ramaphosa has put in an appeal in terms of the Section 89 panel because he believed it was flawed in law and all of that. That is still going to be ventilated in the court. And up until a declaration is being done, only then can the impeachment committee not proceed with its work. But what the Western Cape High Court has done is that it has put in a temporary stop on the work of the impeachment committee, and we believe that is not what the Constitutional Court had gave us an order to.
I'm interested, Mr. Blose, in this confusion that you are highlighting for us around the interpretation of what has been interdicted and what has not. Doesn't it favor your case, or perhaps doesn't it work in your interests that the chairperson of the impeachment committee, Makashule Ghana, and the legal team interpret the judgment of the Western Cape Division to mean that it's only the public hearings that are interdicted. In other words, doesn't it leave the door open to you to say, actually, if that's the case, then we as a committee can proceed. We can meet to appoint the evidence leader. We can meet to decide on the terms of reference and the likes.
But that's exactly the problem that we are having with this judgment, because the ANC on the very same day had released a statement, and the ANC believes that, the impeachment committee has been interdicted and no work must proceed. So that's why we are saying that that confusion and that uncertainty cannot be left to parliamentarians. We cannot go into a meeting and not know what needs to happen, because what if the impeachment committee continues tomorrow and President Cyril Ramaphosa and his team believe that that work should not continue? Now he must go to court and then put Parliament, in contempt of court. So we cannot have such a thing whereby President Cyril Ramaphosa believes he's won a case in court, the chairperson of the impeachment committee believes his work must continue. We must come in with our own interpretation and all of that. And we are saying, no, we have to take this back to where it was, which was in the Constitutional Court. Let the Constitutional Court give us clarity on this judgment, but also tell us that even does the Western Cape High Court even have jurisdiction to entertain this matter, because it's not their matter. It's not an issue that we believe that should have been entertained.
Parting short, without asking you to litigate your full case on the airwaves, Mr. Blose, let me ask you, how confident are you that those heavy doors at Braamfontein will be opened for you? Because, of course, you and I know that it's an extraordinary pathway of litigation to get direct access only in rare circumstances. Sometimes the ConCourt will send you packing. How confident are you that you will be able to make out the case that says, depart from your preferred position, which says you don't like being a court of first and last instance on matters?
No, the Constitutional Court will entertain us, because we are bringing to them their own judgment to say that they must then interpret what the Western Cape High Court's division has done in regard to what they had, to the order that they had given us. And we are saying that, as people, as parliamentarians, we're not sure where now we need to go or what needs to happen in terms of this judgment. But also, we believe that the Western Cape High Court in itself didn't even have jurisdiction to entertain this matter.
Right.
And now we believe that their judgment has been interfered with, because their judgment said that the work must continue up until it's set aside by court, and the Western Cape High Court has interfered with that, and it's their judgment. They must give clarity on it.
I get you. Thank you for that. EFF Member of Parliament Mazwi Blose outlining and giving us a sense really of what it is that they are taking to the Constitutional Court, joining Vuyolwethu Zungula and the African Transformation Movement in seeking direct access to the Constitutional Court.